Hello everyone, I'm Deadnight and this is In It to Win It. We're back at season 86 with Year of the Gryphon. Don't forget to hit subscribe and get updates on what's going on with this channel. But we're going to talk about my earlier legend run in Standard and what the current meta looks like right now for Standard. So I have hit early legend with Miracle Rogue. Miracle Rogue has been around for a while. This is the least miracle-y of the Miracle Rogues that I've experienced in my time playing Hearthstone, but it is quality and it is a lot of fun and really good in this meta. So since the nerfs that we had in Season 85, Paladin was the absolute most dominant deck back then, and honestly, it still is. It's just a little different. No Minion Mage was probably the second most dominant deck, and it still is a lot of action there. But we've seen two new decks pop up that are getting lots of action in this meta, which is Rush Warrior and Trampling Hunter. We also get some Control Priests, and pretty much Warlock, which I hit Legend with last season, is just completely absent. So I started my Legend run with Warlock, and these new Rush decks are really strong against it. So I dropped it for this Miracle Rogue deck. What are you going to see in this Miracle Rogue deck that's going to help you against all these things? So interestingly enough, you're not seeing Backstab, which used to be the staple for controlling the early game, and since it's 0 mana, great for the Miracle setup, but it's out now. The reason it's out is because you have some great early game removal options that are combos, which include Prize Plunderer and Brain Freeze. So these two are the stars of the deck in controlling the game early, and they are going to synergize with Field Contact. So Field Contact is your Miracle engine. You are hoping to get at least 3 cards with Field Contact when you play him, and if you can do that, it's pretty much over. So you look at this Miracle list, and another interesting thing you'll notice is that there are 19 or 20 minions in this deck. So not a lot of spells, a lot of minions. And these minions are going to do a lot for you in the early game. So firstly, you have the legendary star Mankrik. This guy is finding his way into almost every deck, and I think was the most played card in the recent Masters tournament. Great early game card, good quality stats, and then since you're going to be drawing your deck most of the time, you're almost always going to be hitting Mankrik's wife, getting that 3/10 that goes right to the face. Huge card, huge stats, and really hard to deal with that second Mankrik when he pops out. The other thing you're going to see is these enabling minions and spells. So Efficient Octobot has been a monster mech in this deck. As a 1/4 for 2, he's going to be usually, if you play him on turn 2, your opponent is going to be scrambling to try to kill this guy in one hit without triggering the frenzy, which is hilarious because you can trigger the frenzy yourself with Guardian Og Merchant or Pen Flinger. So you can either choose to wait till you have one of those guys, play Efficient Octobot, reduce the cost of all cards in your hand by 1 by flicking it, and then next turn going off on your Miracle turn with Field Contacts and Swindles and combos and Prize Plunderers, and then by the time your turn's over, you've usually killed everything on their board, and you have 3 or 4 small minions on the board and a bunch of cards in your hand. So swing turns like that are just wild, crazy, and usually impossible to recover from for your opponent. The way that this deck wins, though, is by you turn 3 or 4 doing one of those turns where you take control of the board, and then next turn you want to either have a Golem from Kazakus Golem Shaper or Jandis Barav. And then when your opponent dumps everything they have to try to recover from that, you are left with Alexstrasza and Tenwu. So these guys working together is 16 damage in a turn. If you've reduced them with Efficient Octobot, you can easily play Alexstrasza twice in a turn, or even 3 times with a Shadowstep. Or if you're playing against Control Priests, you can set up to deal 4 Alexstrazzas in a turn with Tenwu and 2 Shadowsteps. Now the key to this combo is obviously you Shadowstep Tenwu, so you can just play an Alexstrasza for 7 mana, and then a Tenwu, bounce it, Shadowstep your Tenwu, play Alexstrasza, play a free Tenwu, play a 1 mana Alexstrasza, do this over and over until they're dead. So you don't need to go through this elaborate 1-turn kill setup unless they're playing Priest or some other control deck that heals a lot. Usually you want to use your Shadowsteps on Jandis Barav. That's your best Shadowstep target. Or you can use it on Mankrik if there's an appropriate tempo situation to replay your Mankrik. Kazakus Golem Shaper is a great target for Shadowstep to get those extra golems. And also Prize Plunderer to control the board. If your opponent's starting to run away with it, you can use Shadowstep on Prize Plunderer to take out a couple minions in 1 turn for 1 mana. I mean, that's just crazy. So that's really why this deck is so good, is those swing turns with either Shadowstepping Jandis and getting a whole board full of 5-drops, or Shadowstepping Prize Plunderers and just blowing up Paladin boards. That's the great thing about this deck is Paladin starts to run away with the game either with an early Avenge, early Hands of Adal, some kind of early buff on a quality minion, and then usually this deck on turn 3 or 4 just takes all of that away from your opponent. Same thing with Rush Warrior. They get high statted buffed minions early in the game, and those things just go away. Between Brain Freeze and Prize Plunderer, they just can't stick to the board. The other great card in this deck, the surprise standout actually, is Cult Neophyte. I don't understand why this card is not seeing more play in this meta. Cult Neophyte is huge right now. You look at what people are trying to do in the early game, and Cult Neophyte stops all of it. So mages, they want to play turn 2 Incanter's Flow. On turn 2, you play a Cult Neophyte, and they can't do that anymore. Paladin wants to play Hand of Adal on turn 2 and run away with the board. They can't do that if you play Cult Neophyte. They can't play Secrets on turn 2. They can't play Conviction to try to steal the board with a Divine Shield minion. There's so much that Paladins can't do here. If Rush Warrior, they're not looking to play spells on turn 2, but usually they want to play Bumper Car, which is a 1/3. So they can't do that here. Cult Neophyte lives against Crab Rider. Because Crab Rider can't kill it and stick to the board. Kolkar Pack Runner can't come out, and you can't play a Kolkar Pack Runner and a Coin and a Wound Prey and then have a whole bunch of Rush minions on the board. So really every deck's turn 2 game plan gets stopped by Cult Neophyte, and nobody plays it except this deck. So I don't know why they're not running it. You definitely should. It's great in this deck. Also, it's a battle cry, so it triggers field contact. Also, you can Shadowstep it and play it for free. So it's just super high quality card. So what's the support for this deck? Keys to winning are getting Swindle, especially if you can play it for free with Foxy Fraud. Getting Secret Passage on turn 3 or turn 4 is also really important. If you don't get these card draws like Field Contact, Swindle, or Secret Passage, if you don't get them on turn 3, 4, or 5 going off, you're going to run out of resources and probably lose, because the key to this deck is a mid-game swing turn, usually with Jandis or Kazakus somewhere involved in there. If you can't get that, or if you get that but have no cards left when it's done, you're probably going to lose. So plan around that. Make sure that after the mulligan, you have some card draw, and plan to get those resources. If you don't get them, you're not going to be able to keep up, because you need to be able to generate these cards after you play new cards. So what your game is typically going to look like is first turn, probably not going to do anything. Second turn, you're either going to play Cult Neophyte, Efficient Octobot, or you're going to Hero Power. Third turn, you want to be playing Mankrik if you can. And then turn 4, probably like you want to do a Secret Passage and play as much from that Secret Passage as you can, or you want to play some minions and take control of the board, or depending on if you got the Octobot or not, you want to trigger the Octobot and do as much of your miracle things as you can on turn 4 or turn 5. And then the threats start coming out turn 6, turn 5, 6, or 7, and at which point they can't recover. Keep in mind, Alexstrasza is your finisher. Tenwu, you want to save for Alexstrasza or Jandis if you can. And usually that you're just going to blow people away. I've had huge success with this deck. Only lose when I can't get card draw, or if somebody just gets an absolute fire opening hand, and sometimes you just lose the variance. Anyway, this deck is really good. You'll notice if you look at the Masters list from the Masters tournament that just about everybody had a Miracle Rogue deck in their pouch, and they are all almost the exact same build. So keep that in mind when you make this. There are some places where you can swap out some cards. Vanessa VanCleef, I think, is an absolutely awesome quality card. But you can swap out Vanessa VanCleef because it's really versatile, but it doesn't do anything concrete for you, so you can swap that out. Some people swap out Tenwu, but I don't see anything that I'd really want to add to this deck right now. It's just really great. I'm really happy with it. It's a nice replacement to Far Watchpost Road, which we lost to the nerfs, and it's a lot of fun to play. So let me know what you think of it. Tell me if you've had some experience with this, what you think of it, and what decks beat it. What does this beat really well? I mean, for me, I think it beats just about everything, but tell me what you think. Leave a respectful comment below. Don't forget to subscribe, and tune in next time.